This video is on the maths lesson on time problems. First, we'll look at centuries. Centuries are counted from the year 1 AD. AD stands for Anno Domini, which means in the year of the Lord in Latin. Sometimes instead of AD, CE is used. CE stands for Common Era. Before 1 AD was 1 BC. BC stands for Before Christ. Sometimes BCE is used. BCE stands for Before Common Era. So 5 BC or 5 BCE, which is the same thing, is 5 years before the birth of Christ, or 5000 BC is 5,000 years before the birth of Christ. While scholars think they got the date of the birth of Christ wrong, it is still used as a reference point in calculating years. So it is simply a reference point rather than anything else. The first century AD was up to the year 99 AD. Technically, it can be argued that it was up to 100 AD, but these days the new century is seen as starting from the year ending with 2 zeros. So the century the year is in is a number of hundreds in the year plus 1. We're adding in the first century before the date reached 100. As you can see, centuries, the same as negative numbers on our timeline, become bigger as you go further away, as you become older. So 5 BCE is much more recent than 5000 BCE. Let's have a look at an example. In what century was the year 1066? The number of hundreds is 10, as you can see. So we need to add on that first century from 1 to 99 AD, which means we need to go 10 plus 1, which gives us 11. So the year 1066 was in the 11th century AD. Logic time. In these questions, we start with the time given, and then we work out each part in turn. There is no need to combine the parts. You will not actually save any time or any calculations. You'll end up with the same number of calculations. Let's look at an example. Gemma's watch is 4 minutes slow. She has a 15-minute walk to school, which starts at 8:30. What is the latest time on her watch that she can leave for school? Well, we start with the time we know, which is 8:30. Then she has a 15-minute walk to school. So we need to subtract the 15 minutes off. She needs to leave 15 minutes before school to allow that 15-minute walk time. 8:30 minus 15 minutes gives 8:15. Then we need to account for her watch being 4 minutes slow. If a watch is 4 minutes slow, it means it's 4 minutes behind what it is. So 8:15 is showing 4 minutes before that, so we need to take those 4 minutes away, giving 8:11. The next section is on timetables. When you answer questions on timetables, you need to make sure you understand what the question is asking. The question may require some calculations, particularly addition or subtraction, and timetables are normally written using 24-hour time. The final section is on time zones. Since the Earth is constantly rotating on its axis, it is different times in different parts of the world. So the world is divided into a number of time zones, as you can see here on this map. The standard time in England is referred to as Greenwich Mean Time. From this time, the time in other places can be calculated. Time zones can be shown on a map or in a table. So you can see here we've got Greenwich Mean Time. As we go here, that's 1 hour above Greenwich Mean Time, 2 hours, and so on. And back this way. You'll notice that it's not neatly in these lines, and that's because it fits with convenience as well. For instance, a small country will all be in the same time zone, even if it goes across that border. Some countries have daylight savings, where the clocks will go back an hour in autumn and forward an hour in spring. In autumn, we can say fall back, using the word fall from the American word for autumn. And in spring, we can say the clock springs forward, so it goes forward an hour. That's an easy way of remembering which way it is. In questions asked regarding time zone, ignore daylight savings unless it is mentioned in the question. Let's have a look at some examples on time zone. When it is 9 o'clock in England, what time is it in Sydney? Well, we look up our map or table, we find that Sydney is GMT plus 10. So we're going to add 10 hours to the time in London. The whole of the UK is on GMT time, unless it's in daylight savings. So we're going to add 10 hours to that. So 0900 plus 10 hours, well 9 plus 10 gives me 19, which is the same as 7 p.m. Example 2. When it is 2 p.m. in Abu Dhabi, what time is it in Calcutta? Well, again, I look at my table or my map, whatever I'm given, and I notice that Abu Dhabi is GMT plus 4 and Calcutta is GMT plus 5.5. Therefore, Calcutta is 1.5 hours in front of Abu Dhabi, because 5.5 take 4 is 1.5. They're both going in the same direction. They're both positive. So 2 p.m. plus 1.5 hours gives me 3:30 p.m. So it's 3:30 p.m. in Calcutta. Now, it's 12-hour time in the question, so I answer in 12-hour time. It's 24-hour time in the question, I answer in 24-hour time. Example 3. When it is 6 p.m. in Perth, Australia, what time is in London? Well, in this question, it is easiest to convert to 24-hour time first. 6 p.m. is the same as 1800. Perth is GMT plus 8. That means it is 8 hours in front of GMT. So to go back to GMT, I need to take away those 8 hours. So I end up with 1800 take 8, which is 1000. My question is in 12-hour time, so I need to answer in 12-hour time, so convert that back to 12-hour time, and it is 10 a.m. in London. Bye for now.